abuse tactics on a national scale. And we're going to break this down because once you understand how narcissistic abuse works, you will see right through this little weasel. If you know anything about narcissistic abuse, you know some of the most common tactics they use. Gaslighting, DARVO, which is an acronym for deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. And then there's a lot of financial control, and they also use what we call flying monkeys. I'll explain that in a bit. On a national scale, this looks more like him denying reality, like for example, global inflation, or the fact that CBC is Crown Corporation, not state-run media. This man is distorting reality in order to gaslight you. And just like when your ex repeats his bullshit so much you eventually believe it, that's what this guy's doing. It is mass gaslighting, and it works. It makes people doubt the facts, doubt their reality, and even doubt themselves, which is what he has to achieve in order to get you on the hook emotionally. DARVO is a deflection tactic designed to shut down accountability. So when this happens in a relationship, this is when you come to your partner and you say, hey, what you're doing is hurting me. And they go, I'm not doing that. You're doing that. Why would you question me like that? They are denying, attacking, and effectively reversing the victim and the offender. Just like when this man gets fact-checked by the media and then says, oh, they're out to get me because they exposed his bullshit. Now, when it comes to the flying monkeys, this is extremely detrimental to the victim in an abusive dynamic. What the narcissist does is collect as many haters against the victim as possible, feed them bullshit information, and then gets the flying monkeys to go out and carry out the dirty work. So that's spreading misinformation, bullying the victim, etc., etc. On a bigger scale, politically, that's your rebel news, that's your YouTube creators, your podcast creators. They repeat PP's talking points, they attack the critics, and they do most of the dirty work so that he doesn't have to say too much. Another thing that your abusive ex is going to do is try to destroy your reputation. They do that in order to isolate their victim. A narcissist will make your friends, your family doubt you, your job. They'll go to everyone and they will try to make everybody believe that you are mentally ill or something, that you're corrupt, that you're evil, or, on a national scale, that the public media can't be trusted. Had to throw this in there because I thought it was hilarious. If you notice, this man almost never offers any real discussion about policy. He focuses so hard on just eroding your trust in the government, eroding your trust in public broadcasters, because when people don't know who to believe, they cling to the loudest voice in the room. And one thing a narcissist is always going to do is try to control you financially. It's what abusers do to try and make sure that you stay dependent on them. Pierre has made a lot of interesting decisions about who he spends his time with, leading a lot of us to believe he will try to privatize healthcare. But beyond that, he constantly uses the narrative of Canada's financial situation, which, by the way, isn't as bad as what it could have been. COVID impacted everybody, worldwide. He blames all of inflation on one man, one tax, one policy, because nothing he does is about fixing the economy. It's about positioning the Liberals as the villain so that he can stoke fear and outrage. He wants you focused on the enemy he created so that you don't turn around and look at him. Friends, this is not random, okay? This is an adaptation of the Narcissistic Abuser's Handbook, and it's called the Finkelstein Formula. I know this is a lot to take in, and I know I'm going to get a ton of comments from conservatives calling me, crazy, whatever. But the more people see these patterns, the less power they have. And if you have ever survived an abusive relationship, you already know the pattern. You will self-isolate and stop trusting anybody but your abuser, and they will thrive off of that power. And the only way to get out is through awareness, connection, and truth, not fear and division. Please don't let yourself be manipulated by a medium ugly man. Conservatives deserve a better leader for the party, they deserve the truth, and we all deserve to actually feel safe in our own country. Please follow our mission to save the CBC, share it with your friends. The women of Canada are not going to let a millhouse-looking motherfucker take this country down. Ladies, please do not lose sight of the fact that we have a ton of voting power, okay? Side with your sisters, because this guy will always be a threat to women. Somebody should probably check on his wife.
First of all, who in the world, blanks out the word abuse? It isn't a bad word and never has been. Let me give you a fact. A lot of people, or a lot of narcissists, complain and accuse others of being narcissists. Just take that in for a moment.